Hey folks, this is Wally. Wanted to talk about some of the new coolness that I found in Windows Azure, and specifically want to show off some of the new things that I'm finding in the Visual Studio tools in this part. So let me start up actually my other project that I've got. I've been showing y'all a project that I've written over the last 24 hours that does image processing. So we'll start with that, and then when the other parts of my application come up, then I'll show you some of the pieces there as well. Alright, so first thing is, you'll notice that they've got a lot of integration in with Visual Studio. I mean, previously in the 2008 versions that I'd shown off, there was some limited integration. And it's kind of understood. It's, hey, I mean, they're working, they're trying to get things going. But now they've got like a lot of integration in with the Server Explorer. There's a Azure activity log, so you can see what's going on. Let me just remove all that. And then even over here, we'll have some capability to go and publish. So let me go, and I just want to do a publish into the into my Twitter application. So like I said, this is a much more complicated example, which I don't want to jump into right at this point in time, because it really hasn't changed a whole lot. But let's go, and I just want to show you this doing a publish. So I've got some stuff set up in Visual Studio with my Azure application, and then I can just go and set publish. Now previously when I'd set publish, I had a session in Internet Explorer. It took me to the Windows Azure portal, and then I also had a folder that popped up, and I needed to take those two files and send them up to Windows Azure through the web browser. I don't have to do that anymore. So I'm going to go and I'm going to publish my cloud service now. Notice that I had selected Enable IntelliSense. IntelliTrace for .NET 4. That's a big deal. So what's happening right now? We've got some stuff happening. We're uploading, and this is all asynchronous, and that's very cool. We can go ahead and do things in the background, or we can go ahead and do things while this operates in the background. So let's go back and let's take a look at some of the cool tools that we've got. So first thing is, notice that I've got my Windows Azure Compute and Windows Azure Storage over here in the Server Explorer. When I look at Windows Azure Compute, notice that I can see some projects that I've got out in Azure. I can do certain things. I can view my IntelliTrace logs. And you're probably sitting here saying, hey, how can I do that? Well, when I select this, it will download those IntelliTrace logs for me. I'm not going to do that right this moment because there's a lot of stuff. Actually, let me go do that right now in this session of Visual Studio, because the other one. Alright, so this is downloading for me. Once again, like the upload, this is all asynchronous, so I can continue to do things. I could do this on my worker role. Actually, doing this previously helped me find a bug that I had up there in the production fabric. I actually had a null, an object that I was setting to null, and I actually wasn't supposed to be doing that, and I just was working through the worker role IntelliTrace, and I was like, hey, why am I getting this null here? Went digging into my code, and I was like, oh, null. That's bad in this situation. I fixed that. I've been running now solid for 24 hours, so that's pretty good. Now, I can now go also look at the storage, whether the storage is up in a database somewhere, SQL Azure, or I can also go look at my Azure tables, or I can go look at my blobs. And I think that's another thing that's really a big deal as well. So since my example used blob storage, let's go and we can do a lookup here on my blobs. Okay, so notice that I've only got one image sitting out there, and I actually have more images out here in my PNG because I had some programming errors, so I was accidentally creating them. But we just look here and notice that this is in fact the image that I had uploaded. Okay, sure enough, it's actually, you can't really see it that well, but it is the image. And you're also probably sitting here going, hey, I've got this, that's my IntelliTrace stuff. What is this? I can do a query. So I could say, let's see, let me do something for my development storage. Yeah. Alright, yeah. So now I can do something, and this is going to be like the it's a slightly different query. Think of it as a query that has already been HTML encoded. Name equals Mike. Alright. And then that shows, hey, I've got this one record out here that meets this requirement. So you get the picture. And that just pulls up the data from Charlotte. Alright, now I had pulled down my IntelliTrace logs, and I can go and I can look and I can see what's going on here. And notice these are just some of the exceptions that have occurred out there. And I believe I've actually fixed these since they were shown. But if you're getting exceptions out there and you've got some trace information, then that's where this is being displayed at. Let's see, this will give you some system info on it. So that's a little bit of information about what you've got running out there in the cloud. Notice this one little piece, the cloud servers are 64 bits. If your desktop is 32-bit, there's actually a QFE that you have to download to get the IntelliTrace to work. But if you do like a little search on that, you'll find it. It's actually fairly simple stuff to find. You can get a list of the modules that you can see that are out there. So that's what's loaded up. Let's see. And like I said, this is all running, being downloaded asynchronously. You've actually got, you've got some status information. So while something's running asynchronously, you can see things happening. Okay, so for example, it took 2 minutes to download that IntelliTrace file, and then it was displayed. So, alright, so I hope this has been helpful for you, and we will, sorry, whoops, this is the piece I forgot. I thought Visual Studio popped up, but when you're going to deploy out in Visual Studio, you get a second message, and this is obviously hit me at times, because it just hit me now, right? You might want to do this, you might not. Basically what this is saying is we're going to go delete the deployment that's currently out there, and then do you want to really go do this? Because like in my situation, I'm only running one instance of my application. So for my roles, that means things are going to be down while that occurs. And just to show you a little bit of information on that piece, something you may want to pay attention to. Notice instances count equals 1. So definitely want to pay attention to that. Let's see, I guess it's in my CSDef. My other spot, yeah. Okay. We can do native code execution. That's what's happening there. Also, you can set the size of the VM that you're using. I don't have a lot of traffic on my applications. Since I don't have a lot of traffic, the VM size doesn't need to be real big. I don't need to pay those additional for those additional resources. So that's what this is saying here is I've got 4 options. I've got small, medium, large, and extra large. Those options are all out there. They're all available to me. So I just set mine to small. While this is happening, I hate it when I do that, don't you? Let me bring this guy back up. And I don't know if you saw this earlier, being when I did these videos before, but you can, like I said, you can set the different number of instances. So I can go into my CSDef. Oh, I need to be over here instead. I always get the wrong one, yeah. So I can set up a whole bunch of instances to run. Now, when I do that, and I'm going to start building things and deploying them and all that. I don't know if you remember this tool. It's a little GUI that shows me about the development fabric and gives me some information as to what's going on. Well, this guy, when he starts running, do a little refresh. There we go. So now you can see that there's a bunch of instances that have been created. Notice I've still only got my 1 worker role. I've got my multiple web instances. And there should be something very interesting. This should start filling up with a lot of information here in a minute. Hopefully it will. However, it does take a while to spin things up. So hopefully not too long though. My goodness. There we go. Some things are starting to happen. Notice that the instances are all happening a little bit independent of each other. And there we go. There's some stuff happening. So you're getting information about where you're at. You can see these guys. So let's see. My app is back up. It's still spinning some things up. But you can see the different state they're all in. And then, like I said, over here, yeah. Remember I showed you the trace information? Well, here's the output of that trace information. So you can see that things are happening and life is pretty good. Hopefully life is pretty good here. Yay. Now, to show you that everything still actually does work, we'll upload the lighthouse. And bang, there's the lighthouse, and then hopefully here in a minute we'll get a PNG image. And bang, there it is. Alright, so that's it. I apologize for a couple of misspeaks, but I hope this has been helpful to you, and we will definitely talk to you on the flip side. Everybody take care. Bye.